Hey everyone, it's Deja from CrochetEverAfter.com. Today I'm going to do a review of this Feederbrook Farm Entropy yarn. So I got this in my yarn box, January 2015 yarn box, and I was immediately in love with it. I love the lofty two-ply color change of it, and it's also a self-striping, so it's like the best of both worlds that I love with yarn, self-striping and very colorful. So I'm really excited to try this out to see how it's going to crochet up. It's 260 yards. It's 100% blue-faced Leicester wool, and the colorway is Y, not squared, Y to the third power, or Y3, depending on how you want to say that. A lot of their color names are math or physics based, so they have some E equals MC squared and some other fun color names on their website. I believe this color might be exclusive to Craftsy, but they have some really beautiful colors. So if you go to their website, feederbrook.com, you can see all the different colors that they have for their Entropy line. And I'm going to go wind this up, and I have a pattern in mind for this, so I can't wait to see how this is going to crochet up. It's got such pretty colors throughout. So I'm going to go wind this, and then I'll show you how the cake looks before I get started. Okay, I got my first hank wound into a cake, and you can see how these color changes go, because now they're placed together, so you can see it a little bit better how these are going to look. So it's very, very pretty. The way that the hank was partitioned off, I guess you could say, because usually you put it on your Swift and there's a couple ties that you need to cut. This hank was a little different. There's only one actual tie where the beginning and end are, and then it kind of ran through and around the hank. So it was like, it was one continuous strand that came around, and then it wound through and around kind of like a tie. So if I cut each one of those, I would have been cutting part of the yarn. So I made sure that I only cut the ends that I saw were a tie, and then I just ran it around and unwound it instead of cutting it for the other areas. So if you get this yarn and you notice that it looks a little strange how it's tied off, it's because it's not tied. It's actually part of the yarn. They just wound it around and around. So carefully unwind it instead of cutting it so you don't lose any of your yarn. You won't lose a ton, it's just like one wind around the hank, but it's still sad to lose if you cut it, so don't do that. It's just the yarn label. I always stick it in the center so I don't lose it. So I'm gonna go start on my project, and I'll show you how it looks in a little bit. Okay, I was just about to start swatching with the yarn, and I just wanted to point something out so that if you're new to crochet or you're wondering how easy it is to work with this yarn, one thing to consider is that if you're not used to seeing stitches, not used to seeing chains, this yarn could be a little difficult to work with, because if you look right now, this is my chain stitch, and because of the two color combination, you can see that it's almost completely hidden. Like, you cannot see the V stitches very well. So this is important, that if you're brand new to crochet, this is probably not yarn you're going to want to start off with, because you're going to have a hard time working into this foundation chain trying to find each loop that you should go under. So one thing to consider, you really need to know how to find your stitches with this yarn, especially for this chain. Let me see what happens when I get to, because I'm going to be doing mostly double crochet, I believe, in this yarn. So that might be a little bit easier once we get the stitches going, but I wanted to show you the foundation chain before I started working into it, because you can see that these loops are just, it looks great because I love how you can't really see the chains, but it's a little difficult to work into. Okay, I've got the double crochet into the foundation chain. It's not too bad. Once you get the first couple going, then you can kind of see the loops a little better. I'm working the double crochet into the double crochet now, and I know where to place my hook, so I'm used to it. It's not slowing me down at all, just the foundation was slowing me down. But if you are brand new to crochet, it might be still difficult for you to figure out where to place your hook, because you can see that those stitches are not super visible. But if you are used to crochet and you know where exactly to place your hook in the next stitch, because you can see looking at it this way too, it's a little difficult to see your holes of where your hook should go. So it's one of those things. It's like boucle yarn, you know, the yarn that's real nubby. That one you more have to feel it than see it because it's so nubby. This is kind of like that same type of thing where you need to know where to put your stitches. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a whole lot of frustration. For me, it's totally worth it because I love how this yarn looks. It's such a pretty combination of colors. So I'll go through the extra headache of, you know, having to watch my stitches as I place them. But for a brand new crocheter, try out some other projects first until you get comfortable with your stitches, and then I would get this type of yarn. But it's really, really lovely. I like it a lot. Lovely. It's very soft and nice and stretchy, so I'm really enjoying it. Okay, I finished my swatch and I'm just pulling this out to check out the frogging ability of the yarn, and as you can see, it's not getting stuck at all. So that's really good, especially for wool, because wool likes to stick to itself with all the little guard hairs and things in it. But I am having no problem with frogging, so this is very good. If you need to change a project or start over or anything, you won't have a problem with any of your yarn getting stuck together and you having to cut it. So I've got a good gauge. I'm going to go start my project now, and I'll show you what I have in just a little bit. Okay, I finished my project in the Entropy yarn, and it's in the shop. It's called a Wavy Lace Scarf, so if you like it, you can head over to the website and click on shop to find it. The yarn itself, though, is really pretty. I love the effect of the self-striping. It's so subdued, I guess you could say, because it's got kind of that same background color going through of the kind of the light blue, and then it has the different color mixed in with it, so it just blends really nicely. So the yarn was great to work with. It gives nice stitch definition. It's got quite a twist on it, so it's a little bit different to work with because it can twist on itself a little bit, but it's really easy to frog. It doesn't get stuck to itself. I'm just kind of pulling it along so you can see all the different color changes. I used 2 different skeins or 2 different hanks and right in line, and you can't tell the difference of the dye lot. I'm like, what am I looking for? For the dye lot when they're laying next to each other, because I just did one single hank and then I joined up the next hank. I didn't intersperse them because that would probably really mess up my color runs, but you can get a couple hanks from the same color dye lot. So here's one hank and here's the other hank, so you can see they work together very well. So great yarn. I love the colors. Check them out, and if you've tried them before, let us know what you think. But thank you for watching.